following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly.
That's exciting. Are you recording it?
I am now. Hello, and welcome
to clap.
The Big Clap. The podcast before the podcast.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome to Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. My name is Matthew, and my favorite Marvel mutant is Nightcrawler.
And my name is Ryan, and my favorite Marvel mutant is Shadowcat.
Ooh. Her name is spookier than her powers.
For sure. I do really like Nightcrawler, though. He was very cool.
Mm-hmm. He was always my favorite.
Was he played by Alan Cumming at one point?
Yep, in X2. X-Men United. The worst named Marvel movie. Maybe. So Ryan just made a good face, and it's a good face that is really a segue into what this podcast is about. It's about having a drink and trying to be succinct and failing, but that's okay. It's okay to have tried and failed. Speaking of failures, what are you drinking tonight, Ryan?
I don't know that it's a failure. I am drinking a Blackberry Gin Fizz.
Ooh.
It's lovely. I think I went a little heavy-handed with the shrub that I used in it.
That was not what I thought you were going to say based on your face. I thought you were going to say you went heavy with the gin, which is a fun surprise.
So I invested, I guess, in like a really nice gin that's very smooth, and I really like it. Hendrick's Midsummer something. It's very good. And I did buy it because I thought the bottle was pretty, but that's beside the point.
I mean, sometimes if the bottle's pretty enough, it tastes good.
It is. And I lucked out because it could have been bad. But no, the gin is very smooth and very nice. It's just the shrub tonight is a little more vinegary. Mm-hmm. But I did use more of it than I typically use. Like I used like half a shot glass instead of just like bloop.
Yeah.
So
does it like hit you in the back of the teeth?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good way to put it.
I believe that's your way of phrasing that I have adopted. So thank you for adding that to my lexicon.
My family says clinks.
I think I've heard you describe it as both.
Probably.
I think that's how you describe the clinks
person.
to me. Maybe. Because I think you said clink one time, and I was like, what does that mean? And you're like, hit me in the back of the teeth. And I was like, oh, okay.
But yeah, it's good. I would drink it again. Maybe go back to using a little less shrub.
Get out the hedge trimmers and take a little bit of that shrub out.
Yeah, what are you drinking tonight, Matthew? Oof.
And that, folks, was me gripping and ripping. You know it. You love it. You want some more of it. That's a song that I don't like. It's still Shandy Boy Summer going strong. Not even summer yet.
Woo!
When does summer start? In like June?
Like middle of June. Late June. It's like around the 20th, 21st.
So yeah.
Hold on. I have a calendar that tells me when the solstice. Summer is solstice.
Ho-ho.
Ho-ho.
But yeah, I'm drinking a shandy while Ryan is looking that up. Mm-hmm. It is a beautiful Leinen Kugel. It's refreshing, and light, which is what you want from a shandy. When's that solstice, my bud?
It is the 20th of June, which is also Father's Day, my father's birthday, and the moon enters Scorpio, where the sun enters Cancer.
It's a big day for everybody. Dads, Ryan's dad specifically, Scorpios, I assume. I don't understand astrology, but I will learn at some point. But yeah, everybody mark your calendar, big day. Is the solstice something important, or is it just the equinoxes?
I would argue that the solstices are more important. So summer and winter have solstices. Mm-hmm. Spring and fall, or autumn.
Yes, thank you for using the correct term.
Have equinoxes. And the equinoxes have more to do with, like, harvest time. So, like, planting and, like, reaping what you sow.
And I'm a farmer, so that's very important.
That's very crucial. And then the solstices, I don't know why, but they feel more important.
I feel like the solstices maybe are like winter's gonna end or summer's gonna end, so either stock up or get ready to party. Get ready for Shandy Boy season. See, to Shandy Boys, the solstices are very important. They harken back to the ancient Shandy Boys preparation for summer and also hibernation in the winter. But yeah, that's not what this episode's about.
It's not.
Alright, I'll be down in about 20 minutes.
So this episode
It's a
very special episode, and by that I mean it's about teens in a haunted house, but also X-Men? I did a shrug. Realized that was not going to be audio friendly. But we are talking about the 2020 film New Mutants. I don't know why I said the title as a question when it was the year I was unsure of, but in my defense, it was in development hell for like 2 years.
Yeah, that's what we'll blame it on, the fact that it was in development for so long.
Mm-hmm. That dang Disney merger. But yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe not fun, maybe the best place to start is, Ryan, how interested are you in mutants? Specifically Marvel mutants?
So I remember liking like X-Men, which is I feel like where I first learned about Marvel mutants.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I didn't realize that they were attached to like the like traditional superheroes.
Yeah.
Your Captain Americas, your
Iron Mans.
Yeah.
Your Thorses.
And they came out in like early 2000s, like first started really, I feel like.
The films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were fine. I remember liking the costuming and the one where they went super goth with everything.
There's a couple of them where they just wore black pleather. Because they were like, these comic costumes will not translate. And they never tried again.
But they're fine. I mean, they're fine. What do you think about them?
So I'm like you. When I was younger, the movies came out, and I was kind of lukewarm about the first one. Though I did like the scene where they fight on the Statue of Liberty. So, your boy integrated that into every single comic book he ever drew. Second one, loved it. Third one, at the time I liked it. But rewatching it, not good. Although it does have Elliot Page's Shadowcat in it. So that's always a plus. And then after that, they kind of took a downhill turn for a little bit. But yeah. And I also very much enjoyed, before the podcast started, Ryan and I talked about X-Men Evolution, the cartoon from that era that I very much enjoyed at the time, but also recently have rewatched, and it's a little rough around the edges, we'll say.
So what I'm hearing is I shouldn't rewatch it and let it just live in that positive nostalgia brain.
I think so, yeah. I mean,
Good to know.
I've only watched a couple episodes. And I mean, it's mostly like the art style and the animation is just really rough. Mm-hmm. And they're also just kind of like focusing on the same 5 mutants that they always focus on.
Yeah, I get that. I did think, however, when you said before the podcast and we're talking about mutants, I did think that you were going to bring up one of our most contentious points of our
I wasn't gonna, but we can.
friendship. Which at this point, I believe I have conceded I was wrong, but I held on to that belief longer than I thought I should have. It was a Wolverine movie.
It's
right?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I thought it took place in a different time period.
Mm-hmm.
And Matthew knew which one was right.
Yeah, it's the 80s because it's 3 Mile Island at the end, I think.
I don't even remember what era I thought it was in.
I don't either.
But I really held fast to that for a lot longer than I should have.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It didn't kill our friendship. We have a podcast now. But yeah. So yeah, we both like the movies. Have you ever read any of the comics?
I think here and there, I think maybe like my dad's old comics featuring X-Men, but I don't think that they were his favorite, so I don't know that he had a lot of them. Mm-hmm. My dad was a huge nerd.
But I think we've talked about before, isn't he more like a Dark Horse indie comic kind of guy?
Yeah. My dad was potentially the original hipster. Love him to death.
Well, I don't know. Man. I think maybe my great-grandma was the original hipster. She wore flannel all the time and drank Pabst Blue Ribbon.
You're right. That's it. Goddamn. That's the dream aesthetic right there.
She maybe ran an underground casino. I don't know. Some of the things that I've heard about her are bordering on fantastical.
I want to hear more about your grandma. I love that.
But yeah. But this podcast is not about my grandma.
Not this time. Maybe one day if we're lucky.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember when I was little, I would go to the Price Cutter in Airport Drive.
Okay.
It always smelled like sewage. But they had comic books in the front, and I would just buy like random like issues in runs to where I would not understand the story, but I'd just be like, I got comic books.
Oh.
And some of those were X-Men. I believe specifically Excalibur, which is like the British X-Men.
Okay.
And I could not tell you anything about it other than I think Captain Britain is the main character. But yeah. And then I also have like trade paperback collections of like the old ones, but I feel like that shouldn't count. But yeah,
I think it counts. I don't know enough about comic books to probably interject effectively, but I think just having the comic book is Like
Yeah.
it counts if you have a I don't know.
I feel
it
like
counts.
I feel like it's like less impressive than having like the actual issues.
Yeah, but
maybe.
who has time for that?
Nerds.
Okay. You got me there. You're right.
Alright, I'll be down in about 20 minutes.
Today we're focusing on a specific, I guess, team is a good way to refer to them. I don't know, but
They're all shoved in the same room.
they were tangentially related to each other.
Neighbors.
Yeah, but so today we're talking about the film The New Mutants, which we have both seen,
Yes.
and we both remember what happened. Who among us should give a short plot synopsis?
I will try.
Okay.
It will be brief.
Okay. Well, in your defense, I don't think a lot happens.
That's fair. So New Girl shows up to what looks like, and for lack of better phrasing, is like a mental hospital, like a mental institution.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically for mutants,
Yes.
and meets a bunch of other mutants,
Mm-hmm.
and shenanigans ensue. And I think as far as a as a synopsis goes,
Yeah. You did miss the part with the demon bear.
I did.
And also there's creepy smiley face guys, but I don't remember exactly how they fit in.
So they Queen's Gambit woman.
Mm-hmm. Magic.
Thank you.
The only name that I can remember for sure.
They had to do with her past for some reason. They like tortured her.
Yeah. And I think maybe Danny? Is that the main character?
I think so.
I cannot, for the life of me, I cannot remember any of their names. Except for Magic. But that one's easy. But I think Danny's powers are like, she can psychically manifest other people's
Fears.
fear. Mm-hmm. And that's maybe how they show up. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I thought you were talking more about like their origin, like where they like what they were from, not like
Oh, no. I think they're from like the nightmare dimension or something dumb like that.
Yeah. Yeah, is there going to be another one is my question.
I don't think so. I think this iteration of like X-Men related content is over.
Because I feel like they were expecting more, and that's why this one didn't have so much. It very much felt origin story.
Yeah, I think originally it was going to be a trilogy, and then the merger happened. And then they were going to do reshoots, but I don't think they ever did them.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so...
Yeah, Disney has to focus on
bare
family
bones.
friendly, and I honestly wouldn't call this one. It's pretty dark for like when you think X-Men movies, yeah, you think like they touch on dark subject matter, but they do it in a way that still feels very superhero movie. And this
Yeah.
one felt like it was trying to be more like a PG-13 scary movie.
Yeah. It definitely was trying to be that. I will say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically it's a bunch of teens in a haunted house. Mm-hmm. Is how I've heard it described.
Yeah, but the haunted house is actually the manifestation of like one of their powers.
The haunted house is the friendship they made along the way.
Oh, that's sweet. I like that.
But yeah, and then I guess another point that is really not relevant anymore is that somehow it relates to the experiments they were going to do on Wolverine's daughter and Logan.
Yeah, they definitely just straight up pulled clips from Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Which was strange. Because if you had asked me, like, I would not have connected that they were really that related. I feel like this
Yeah.
one, if you had not told me it was an X-Men movie, I would not really have known. Except I would have been more confused because I did recognize those scenes from Logan.
Yeah. I think it definitely feels like them trying to branch out their universe to be other than just the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like real late in the game.
Yeah. Also, I am confused. Did Disney buy Sony?
Disney bought Fox. Fox
Fox.
owned Fantastic Four, X-Men, and probably others, but I don't remember for sure. And then Sony owns Spider-Man.
Okay.
But they can use Spider-Man because Sony and Disney have a deal.
Okay. Don't like that. But that's not this episode.
This episode's not corporate law. This episode's the New Mutants. But yeah.
Okay. So Fox owned X-Men. That makes more sense.
And Fantastic Four. Don't forget about Fantastic Four.
I
Your
think
favorite.
we all should forget about Fantastic Four, but that's also not this episode.
So there are 5 mutants,
There are.
and I think it would be a fun game if we tried to remember who they are.
Okay.
So we've established there's Magic, who is Queen's Gambit, and the Witch. Her name is Anya Taylor-Joy? Joy Taylor. Something
In
like
the
that. Something
show,
like
her name is Anya?
that. In real life.
Oh. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then there's Maisie Williams, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And then there's
Who-
Stranger Things, Big Brother,
Mm-hmm.
but not the cool one, not Steve Harrington, the other one.
Yeah, the one who's not as fun. The one who likes Vonnegut.
Yeah.
And then there's Danny, who's supposed to be the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Who's a Cheyenne young woman.
Mm-hmm.
Who has psychic powers. And then there's another Brazilian man whose name is, I want to say Rodrigo, but also that feels like it might be not a great guess.
I don't... So I am looking at the cast right now, and the actor's name is Henry Zaga, and he played... But he's listed as Sunspot,
Okay, yeah, that's his code name.
which I have kind of, conflated the two men in this, because I thought Charlie Heaton had firepower, too.
No, he's like not speedball.
Oh,
he-
yeah, because he, like, ran around in a circle or something, and, like,
He's got to go fast.
Sonic. The
So-
Sonic
he's
of the group.
Yeah.
Every
he-
group has one.
Is his name Speedball?
See, his just says Sam Guthrie. It is not consistent on what it tells you in the cast.
Okay. Because I know Maisie Williams' name is Rain, and she is basically a werewolf. And I want to say her mutant or her other name is Wolfsbane, but that makes no sense.
I think it is Wolfsbane. That sounds right, though.
But that's a dumb name for a wolf, though.
Does it have to make sense?
No, but I want it to. And then I don't remember what Danny's. It's like Mirage, maybe.
I I don't know their like their spooky names. The only reason I knew Henry's is because it was listed. Everyone else. So Anya Taylor-Joy's is listed as Magic. Maisie Williams is listed as Rain. Blue Hunt is Danielle. Charlie Heaton is Sam. Henry Zaga is Sunspot. And then Alice Braga is Celia Reyes, which are like the only people that I think are there in the action of the movie. Like present in the movie.
Danny's dad does show up, but he gets killed very early on.
Yeah, and then like all the flashback people.
Yeah. Okay. I have pulled up Wikipedia. And
That phrasing gave me an aneurysm, Matthew.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to do another take of it?
No, I like it. Leave it in, but that caught me off guard more than it should have.
Okay, so Blue Hunt adds Danielle Danny Moonstar / Mirage, which I think is what I said. Maisie
what you
Williams is Rain Sinclair / Wolfsbane. Terrible
Okay.
code name. Anya Taylor-Joy is Ilyana Rasputin / Magic. Charlie Heaton, Samuel Sam Guthrie / Cannonball. And then Henry Zaga Roberto Bobby DaCosta / Sunspot.
You did say Rodrigo, but that's
I did.
okay.
Not a great look on my part, but we live, we learn, we laugh, we love.
Did you know that Marilyn Manson played one of the Smiling Men? That seems like a choice.
I'm getting word. Yes, he provided their voices. According to Wikipedia.
That's a choice that they made for a franchise that children watch.
Mm-hmm. It is a choice they made.
Do you remember James McAvoy being on screen at any point?
No? Is he listed?
He's listed pretty high up in the cast, which makes me think that he had screen time, but I don't remember him being there. Did we miss some weird post-credit scene?
I don't think so. So I'm conflating a scene, I think, in my mind between this movie and the Bad Wolverine movie we don't talk about, where at the end Professor X shows up in a surprise cameo to take people back to the X mansion. But I don't think that happens in this movie. I think it's Patrick Stewart in X-Men Origins. But I don't know for sure.
I don't either. I don't remember him being there, but apparently he was. Also, Antonio Banderas.
I don't think this is accurate. He was not in this movie. Were there scenes deleted or something?
I don't know.
Because like I
don't
said,
know
it was
at
in
all.
development hell for like years.
So what I'm hearing is now we have to go watch like the special features.
I don't think there were special features. I think this was like a bare bones DVD of like you get the movie and be happy you get that.
Did this hit theaters at all? Like I know that like COVID was a weird time for theaters.
I think they pushed it out during COVID and we're just like, we don't want this anymore. We're just going to put it out.
Okay.
I don't think they were expecting like big gains on it.
Well, their expectations were potentially met, definitely not exceeded.
Oh, let's see.
Can you access it on Disney Plus?
I don't know. But it did gross $46 million against its production budget of $67 to $80 million. So that's a big oof.
Sheesh. That's
Also,
rough.
I don't know how they don't have a more accurate production budget. 67 to 80 million is a big variance.
The 20 million was just paying off James McAvoy and Antonio Banderas.
Be like, hey, we're not actually going to put you in the movie, but you're on the payroll.
To help build hype.
Let's see. And let me check Disney Plus to see if you can access it there. I don't think so. For some reason, I think it's on like HBO Max.
Okay.
Which makes no sense. The new Mutants. Nope. The Emperor's New Groove is on there.
That's a pretty okay one, although I have very mixed feelings about David Spade.
Mm-hmm. And we have established before I know who that is. Okay, so if you do want to watch the New Mutants, it's on HBO Max for some reason. I don't know why HBO has it.
Disney just said enough. You can
Disney
have
was like,
that.
hey, Warner Brothers, do you want this for one of your streaming services? And Warner Brothers was just like, okay, I guess so.
Not really, but we'll take it.
I mean, we got Zack Snyder's Justice League. What else do we need?
Oh, Jesus. I never want to watch that.
I watched it so you didn't have to. It was better than I thought it was going to be, but it's not a high bar. Okay, we're not talking about that, though.
Alright, I'll be down in about 20 minutes. Alright.
Let's talk about, we've established who's in the film.
And who isn't in the film but is credited to it.
So, who do you think was your favorite character and why? Of this bounty of great, fully fleshed out characters.
I don't know. I liked like the three women, like the three young women.
Mm-hmm.
The scientist lady turned out to be not great and a little murdery. I am also confused, and this is probably just because I don't know much about comics. Like, there was like a secret society telling her, like giving her orders. What was that?
I think that was a dumb character I don't like named Mr. Sinister, who does things. I don't like him, so I don't really know that much about him.
That's fair.
But for some reason, I want to say he's like super into eugenics.
Oof, that's not a good look for anybody.
Yeah. Like he thinks mutants are this genetically superior. But yeah.
All right.
He also looks real dumb. But yeah.
I will Google that later. No, I think I liked the three young women. I don't think that the boy characters really got like that much screen time. There was a long scene about dishes, or cutting back to one of them doing dishes.
Mm-hmm. I think Sunspot did a lot of dishes in this film.
Yeah, I think that was his main point of existence.
When he wasn't popping the collar of his polo.
Wasn't popping the collar of his polo and wasn't setting a pool on fire.
Which is a feat. Setting water on fire.
But no, like, I mean, Maisie Williams is super cute. Blue was good. They were all fine. I don't know that favorite character is the right word to use in this. The puppet.
Okay.
I liked the dragon puppet. How about that?
Lockheed, yeah.
He was cool. Who's your favorite character?
My favorite character was less of a character and more of a character choice, and that was Charlie Heaton's accent. Probably maybe the worst accent I've ever heard. It sounded like, if you have ever watched The Office, there's an episode where they do like a murder mystery, and the character Oscar, who Ryan has gotten a cameo from the actor of, tries to do an accent, but it's real bad. But just picture that, but for a whole hour and a half movie.
Yeah, his accent was a choice, and Magic's accent was also kind of less so, but it still felt pretty forced.
It
And
was
I'm gonna-
like, she's Russian, so just do your most, like, basic Russian accent, and there you go.
Yeah, they could have done a little more with the accent work here. Is Maisie Williams Irish? Or is she?
I think that she is British and not Irish. I think we looked this up when we were watching the film, but I could not tell you. I want to say for some reason she's from London, but I don't know why I think that.
She's from Bristol.
Bristol, the other UK city.
Because there's two.
There's two. It's not a big island. There can't be more than... It's the size of, like, Rhode Island. That's not true. Rhode Island's small. But yeah.
Let's do a fun diversion. How many United Kingdom cities can you name?
London. Bristol. End of list.
Leeds. Leeds is a place.
Liverpool.
I was gonna say, where did the Beatles come from?
Manchester. I'm trying to think of all the football clubs. Bristol again, but a different one. Tintagel. That's where King Arthur's from.
Where's the UK office based in?
Slough?
There we go. That's one. End of list.
End of list. Wait. End of list. I feel like we're missing a big one.
I do too, and I want to say it starts with Y.
Why? You Bristol.
Perfect.
Okay, so that was a fun round of can we name British cities?
Where the answer is a resounding no.
No. Unless it's London and Bristol. Is Southampton something? That's like a Massachusetts thing.
Yeah, I think that's like
See, it's not fair because New England places
York. Is York in
confuse me.
London?
I think so, probably.
Or
Jersey's probably.
UK.
Hampshire. What other new ones are there? I don't think that's all the new ones in...
This movie passes the Bechdel test.
Does it? I guess it does, yeah.
So that's good. There's a queer couple and both survive the end of
Always
the
a
movie.
plus. Do you think it's a good representation? I mean, they don't really... Nothing really ever really happens. So I don't know if we can judge it on its representation, maybe.
So I come from the idea that typically, and there are, of course, there are going to be bad examples, that like most representation is good. And just having that there. They kissed at one point, didn't they?
I think so.
I was like, that's a thing that happened. I didn't
I think they
make it
did
up.
in a graveyard because it's spooky.
Yeah. And you can't have a scary movie without a kiss in a graveyard.
That's what Seal sang in his famous song.
But I think I don't telling queer stories and having queer characters is more often than not going to be a good thing. With the outlier being like if it's either like super pandering or based solely in like negative stereotype. So I would put this as like positive, like especially because they didn't fall into the bury your gays trope, because I really thought that they were going to.
Into the what?
Bury your gays.
Oh, okay. I I got confused because there's a bear in this movie.
Which I really like. There was one point in the movie where like the bear was coming and the bear was in the church.
The bear was in the church. This is not a
Even though
drill.
there was like one scene where Maisie Williams is like, they can't come in the church, it can't come in the church, and then it definitely did.
Though
It's fine.
I feel like it's not a plot hole though, because it's not a real demon bear.
That's
It's a
fair.
psychic bear.
That's fair.
They just call it demon bear.
You're not wrong.
This film has no plot holes. Structurally sound, because there is nothing going on. Can't have plot holes if there's no plot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel
Sorry.
like there was a big jump. It was like a bunch of nothing happening, and there was just like kids playing in a spooky hospital and living their life, and then spooky things would kind of show up, but
Yeah.
And then the doctor got orders from an unnamed person that Matthew says is Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, Mr. Sinister. Sinestro is from Green Lantern.
God, they're so good at naming things, aren't they, huh?
Comics #1 naming.
And then the scientist lady who like has been monitoring them the whole time tries to kill Psychic Bear. What's her real name? Mirage.
Mirage. Danny.
Danny/Mirage. And then but that happened. I feel like all the major plot points happened within like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Which in an hour and a half movie just kind of happens out of nowhere.
And then they realize what the bear is. And then aside from the scientist lady, nobody died, did they?
No, because it's just the 5 of them. And I think they all 5 survived.
James McAvoy died.
Oh, probably. That would... Antonio Banderas runs in out of nowhere and just gets eaten by the bear.
He runs in and he's like, I'm here to save you, and then the bear just swats him.
He runs in and is like, I was in Spy Kids, and then...
Oh, man, Spy Kids is a good series.
Another Alan Cumming.
Another Alan Cumming movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was Floop.
But yeah, it's nothing happens, and then a bunch happens all at once, and then there's an ending, but it doesn't really feel satisfying.
Because they were banking on that sequel.
And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. Is it definitely feels like it's a setup to a series. It doesn't feel like it was supposed to be a standalone movie. But I don't know that I liked it enough to where I would actually go out of my way to watch the second one if there was one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, what they would do if there was another one. If they were keeping the horror, horror aspect of it.
I mean, they're surrounded by woods. There could be some spooky camping stuff. Blair Witch 2.
They find the village.
They find the village from M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
The Village, yeah. Great soundtrack. Awful movie.
I don't think I've ever listened to the soundtrack.
It's beautiful violin music.
The whole time. Okay. Well, apparently I need to listen to the soundtrack.
But yeah, I mean, what's another horror trope that they can... Because this one's just haunted house. Teens in a haunted house. What would
a camp?
What would
they
your
could go
pitch?
to camp?
Ooh, Camp Mutant. Yeah. Because, I mean...
They could go to sleep and have nightmares. That would be fun with the psychological bear.
Yeah. 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 They could do a Nightmare on Elm Street where they go into Danny's dreams.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could, somehow work out Magic's powers being able to do that. If they can make Kitty Pryde send people's minds back in time, then anything's possible.
There we go. Disney, hire us. We can do New Mutants.
Disney, hire us to run the entire X-Men part of your franchise. We're available. We have no credentials. Do you validate parking?
No credentials. Confidence of a straight white man. What more do you need?
Okay, so I think now is a good time to ask ourselves the big question. Is this a good movie? Which I think we've answered. So maybe not the best time to ask this question after we've answered it, but is it a good movie?
Maybe a good time to get hydrated?
You know what? I think so. Hello, and welcome to Hydration Station, the part of the show where we take a little sip of our water and get hydrated.
Hydration is very important. I have been fighting headaches, and there was one day I had a really bad headache, and all I needed to do was drink a glass of water, and it went away.
Yep.
Water is magic. You will not convince me otherwise.
Water is magic. The shape of water. Lady in the Water. Other films with water in the title.
This
Water
has
World.
been Hydration Station.
Hydration Station.
So I think to wrap up, because we did answer if it's a good movie or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're on the same page.
Yeah. Would you say it's a horror movie?
No.
Because
it's a PG-13 horror movie.
It's billed as a horror movie, but I feel like there is no... It's a movie pretending to be a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they understood the elements of a horror movie, but didn't understand how a horror movie works.
They knew to keep the color scheme dark. I don't know that they understood.
Spooky house, teens, Marilyn Manson.
No, I wouldn't consider this like a horror movie.
Yeah.
It was I got a text and said, "Hey, do you want to watch New Mutants with me?" And I said yes. That's the extent of the experience, and I think that that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not every movie can be great. Not every movie can be Sonic the Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm. Obviously. I mean, you gotta try, but it's not gonna get there.
You can't just give everybody
Not every movie's gonna be
all you
Paddington
can
2.
eat pasta pass.
Critically acclaimed Paddington 2.
Critically acclaimed Paddington 2.
Do we need to watch that at some point to understand all the hype? Because I don't get it.
I think that we need to watch that. I think if we watch that and Citizen Kane at the same time,
Do they link up?
I think that they probably do. There has been correlation between the two.
Did they just CGI... Like, they just took the negatives from Citizen Kane, but added CGI Paddington onto everything?
Oh god, I hope so. As someone who has never seen either, I hope that that's what it is. I hope that Citizen Kane is just Paddington 2, but a little bit worse, because it does have a 99.
I hope at the beginning, instead of saying Rosebud, Paddington says marmalade before he dies. I think that's what happens in Citizen Kane. I've never seen it.
I haven't either, and I don't really plan on watching it.
Yeah.
How about this? To end it out, what would you name the sequel?
Newer Mutants?
New Mutants, this time we're the same ones, but there's woods, maybe?
New Mutants 2 Electric Boogaloo. No, New Mutants 2, X-Men 8. No, X-Men 7.
Two
How many
new,
X-Men?
two mutants.
Two new. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Disney, give us a call.
We have so many ideas.
We will get back more than half the budget. I'm not saying we'll break even, but we'll get back more than half.
More than 2/3 to 1/2. So this has been Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. We sat down, we had a drink, we talked about movies. If you liked what you heard, follow us on social medias at Rhetorical Magic. You can catch me personally at Queer Mothra, and you can catch Matthew at RMCHMatt.
Yep.
Be good to each other, stay healthy, make good choices, and as we say at the end of every episode,
Clink.
clink.
I don't have a good clink.
Going to be away for a while. All right, I'll be down in about 20 minutes.
And Fantastic Four. Don't forget about Fantastic Four. Your favorite.
I remember liking